What's happening, citizens? You notice I didn't say good morning, citizens, like I usually do. This is going to be a little bit of a different video than what I usually produce. I'm just going to head back to Lorville, and while heading back, I'm going to talk about some stuff that has recently happened in the game. What is happening now? Why am I unable to... Oh. Alright, let's try a different elevator. A little bit of an issue there. Perfect. Maybe this will kind of... This is kind of setting the tone so far for what I'm going to talk about. So what I'm going to talk about is... I've been kind of staying out of a lot of the negative things that have happened. Trying not to give my opinion. Because I really want people to come up with their own opinion. Decide for themselves what they think about what's happening in the game. But some people might not notice, and the way I'm going to be titling this video, this is mainly directed not only partly on my opinion on what's happening, but also on people that are looking to get into the verse. They're going to be trying out the Free Fly event, which starts tomorrow, and thinking about maybe getting to Star Citizen and hearing a lot of the negative things, especially if you go in Spectrum right now. It is going to be a lot of negative for the next little while. I will say, CIG found a way to get rid of people talking about the negativity surrounding their roadmap by doing themselves even one worse in what's happened now, and getting even more people irate, and just piling more fire onto the flames there. So more wood on the flames. Guess that'd be better. Where am I going? Pad 2. So really, I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about that so that you understand, if you're looking to get in the verse, will this affect you, and really, how does this affect Star Citizen in the future? So the two things I'll talk about is first the roadmap. The roadmap is something that happened fairly recently. There's a big change. There was basically kind of showing you what is happening in development, what's being worked on, and then like a release view that would go out a few quarters, and that release view would kind of show you, this quarter we're hoping to get this done, this quarter we're hoping to get this done, this quarter we're hoping to get this done. This is what we should have for, 316, 317, 318 going up. Really useful. I liked it. I never expected, because by now you should never expect any of that stuff to actually show up, but it just made it easier to know what was kind of in the plans and what hopefully was coming up soon. Although a lot of things kept getting pushed back and back, that got people really annoyed, and that makes sense that people would get annoyed because they're always hoping to see what was going to happen, hoping to see what they would be able to be doing in the game soon. I was really getting excited about persistent hangars, which seems to be removed for a while, so who knows when that's coming back. But again, I wasn't expecting, I'm not surprised, I should say, that it's not happening. So really not surprised, really shouldn't be anything that should shock anyone that happened, that this didn't make it in. But the fact that they've decided now that because too many people complained, we're not going to show you what we're planning anymore, is kind of closed-minded. And that's what got people upset. The fact that really we've decided we're not going to do this, even though they said, well, we're working on it, it's going to be awesome, we're working on it. We've pushed it back another week because we're still kind of polishing some things. And then a week later says, well, we're not actually doing it. So what were we working on? That kind of annoyed me, and it annoyed many people. And so that was being talked about on Spectrum so much by really blaming people that complained that things were not happening as the whole reason why things weren't happening and why we weren't going to share any information. Along the lines of not sharing information, I mean, when this Kickstarter first happened, a lot of communication was promised that has slowly gone away over the years. And I get it. It's been so long. Really, you can't keep that up. But when CitizenCon really didn't have much in the way of Chris Roberts, when the funding reached the milestones that it has, and you're not hearing any message acknowledging that, it does kind of make you wonder what's going on. And that's what people are worrying about now, is with all these changes, what's going on? What is happening? I know they're saying we're expanding, we're improving things, but at the same time, we don't know that because we are not allowed to know that. We're not being told. So that is the first part of what happened. And then more recently, and I feel this is why I had to start addressing things, is because I've made a video about CCUs and how CCUs work, and how melting works, and how buying back works, and why I think CCUs are a good idea. And if you bought a CCU to go from one ship to another, so far, you're okay. So far, that's all right. The issue has been with the whole idea of people saying, well, this, like, you're not pledging, we're buying, we're purchasing, and that's what the terms of service said. The original terms of service for the game actually said this was a purchase and not a donation or a pledge or whatever the term is now, but they've actually changed the term of service. The terms of service of the game have changed. On top of that, if you were buying a war bond ship or a CCU, and you were going to melt, or you're going to recycle, or whatever it's called, where you turn that into credits to buy something else, with the option every once in a while to use a buyback credit to buy that item back. It used to say that if you got the discount from a war bond or from a holiday special, that price would be retained. And if it's not, if you're having an issue, call customer service. And they have now changed that. And again, I would have been fine with that if they said, we're going to change this. This change is coming. So if you have any CCUs, buy them back now. Also, if it only applied to ones that were purchased after. But if you purchase something that said, if you purchase this now, if you do this now, this price is locked in, this price is not going to change, and then change that terms of service, also said it's no longer a purchase, but that was actually a pledge. Look at our terms of service, what they say now. I think that's kind of a horrible move, because it's not what the person purchased, and they were told something specifically. So that has got a lot of people upset, and I agree. I agree 100%. Anyone should be upset about that because of the way it was marketed. If you were told you can do this because of this, and then it's done, and you say we've changed our mind, and there's no way to undo it, there should be a grace period at the very least. A lot of people, maybe for the expo that was just on, melted some ships thinking they could get them back for their prices that they bought them, hoping to in the future, just to be able to buy something new, to kind of try a new game loop, kind of exploring the game. I mean, they're still buying items. They're still buying items that were sold for that price. That's kind of an issue here. So now the big change is, if you melted a ship that you bought at a discounted price, when you buy it back, even if it's a war bond that was cheaper, it is now the current price of that ship. It will still maintain the insurance that's on it, or any paints or anything that went with it when you melted it at that time. However, it is full price. So if you had a war bond that you bought, say, from a ship to another ship that cost you $20, but now that has gone up maybe to $100, maybe even more, who knows? When you try to buy it back, it's going to be bought back for the higher price. Now on top of that, if you have one of those CCUs and right now you want to melt it for credits, it's going to be the price you paid, but not the price difference. So you gotta understand that. So if you have CCUs that you've melted hoping to buy back, the price has gone up. Unfortunately, that was something unforeseen. There was no warning. It just happened. If you have the CCUs still in your hangar on the website that you can apply to ships, those are still there. And as of now, you can still use them, you can still apply them, and there hasn't been any change. There's no charge to apply those. Who knows? Maybe in the future they're going to go, well, you're trying to upgrade from this ship to this ship, it's actually going to cost this much more, and tell you to apply it on there. Who knows if that's the case? I wouldn't put it past what I've been seeing now that it may move to that, because really, what's to stop you, since now you're just pledging money, you're not actually purchasing anything as far as what the terms of service say. So I have to kind of respond to that, because I do think it's ridiculous. Now, on top of that, I want to talk about what I think still about, the game and why this is happening. Now, I think some people are wondering, is this like a punishment to the people that complained about the roadmap? Well, yeah, you're going to complain about that, we're going to do this now, just, you take that. I don't think so. I don't think it's petty towards backers. I don't think that at all. I do think it's someone looking at the bottom end and looking at costs and looking at money and saying, this is how we make money. Too many people have figured out that CCUs are a way to make money, or save money, I should say, and we're going to try to get that money back any way possible. Anyone that's melted big CCUs, they're now worth a ton more. There was talk that this is probably their idea of a way to fight against the gray market ships. They've already taken the point where you can buy a ship and only transfer it once, and once you transfer anything that you've bought that's giftable, it's locked into the next account, and that originally was said to be to combat the gray market. I don't really think that changed the gray market at all. Now we're looking at the fact that some people may have these CCUs still, and now they're worth a lot more than they purchased them for, but still less than what they are to cost. So I think this has actually helped the gray market more than hurt it in any way at the moment. So if you still have CCUs in your account, do not melt them. It is definitely a mistake to melt those CCUs. If you can apply them, might want to think about applying them now, making sure that those are locked in before anything else changes, because this was a huge mistake, I believe, by CIG. So now that I've kind of got that out of the way, the fact that you can't really use, the buyback mechanics is kind of like a layaway in order to get into the game, and that buying the game is actually now pledging for the game as opposed to purchasing the game. Do I still think Star Citizen is worth it? And I'm going to tell you that I do. I do think it's still worth it, but with a caveat. And that is, you have to look at the game, try out the free fly. If you're thinking about trying the free fly event, seeing if this game is for you, seeing if this is something you want to play, you just have to realize what you're paying for. I have not spent a massive amount of money. I'm not one of the people that have spent thousands upon thousands of dollars on this game, and I can't afford that. So I have purchased a few ships, but nothing massive, nothing huge, and I've enjoyed it. I have played the game, and the amount of enjoyment I've got out of this game versus the number of hours I spent and the amount of money I've spent, this is much more worth it than even, say, going to the movies or heading out to a nice dinner. You can get into the game for the minimum pledge. You can just buy yourself a starter pack and get playing the game and have fun. You don't need... Oh, that was a horrible landing, even after I used Alt F4. Not Alt F4. Don't ever use Alt F4. Just F4. Anyways, I have not spent a massive amount on this game, and I've enjoyed it. I've played, I've flown around, I've run missions, many hours worth of work. What am I doing? I'm hitting control. That's why. There we go. So if you want to get into this game, you want to play the game, $45, get a Mustang or an Aurora. If you play for, a few weeks even, just exploring the game, trying out the different game loops, waiting to see what happens years from now and getting back into it, absolutely, this game is worth it. So you can still get your money's worth for a starter pack. Now, if you, are one of those people who have purchased an Idris or Javelin or, a Reclaimer and an 890 Jump and all these massive ships, and you are waiting for the game loops for the salvage to show up, and you're waiting for any real use to use something fancy like the 890, maybe you can argue that this game is absolutely not worth it, because you've been spending all this money for features that you're hoping to show up that may not make it for a long time, if ever, for some of them, because I do feel that some of the stuff that CIG wants to do, they might not happen. It might take a long time. I mean, I'm going to point out something here that annoys me. These elevators, there's versions of this elevator all around. You can see here it's got this cool little bar that goes into this bracket here. It has never been fixed where it goes in the side. Every time I see this, and it's always on the door side, it's so annoying. And I see it. Why don't they fix this? It's been here for so long. Yeah, there it is. So when is this game going to be done? Who knows? Done is kind of hard to say. What does done mean? When are we going to even get another system? People keep saying maybe it'll be this year, but it could have been last year or the year before. We don't know. So you have to be willing to realize that it's worth paying for what you get. And what you get is only what is currently available in the game. Do not expect more until that shows up, especially when the communication has definitely gone down, especially when the amount of information being shared is being slowly cut off from. Okay, slowly cutting off from the backers. And yes, we are the backers. We are the main people that are helping fund this game. And so that's why so many people are really upset with what's going on. What is happening here? Why can't we know a little bit more about what's happening? Why can't we be given a little bit of information? Just really to be told what's happening, what's going on in the game, makes total sense. I am going to do this. I'm going to edit this. This is going to be part of my screenshot for the opening of this game. Hopefully you guys like what I do. That's kind of what I'd like to talk about. I'll talk a little bit more about why I still think Star Citizen is worth it coming up in my new series, which is hopefully starting maybe next week, or at least I'm going to be starting to film on the weekend. As part of my birthday, I've kind of decided to change things up and do something new. So you will see what is happening there. You will see what I really enjoy about this game and why I think buying a minimum game package, buying one for $45 after the free fly event. Don't forget, if you do, to use referral code. There is one up here. If you have another one, feel free to use that as well. Get into the verse, but get in the verse with your eyes open, knowing what to expect. Some things have happened that aren't that great. Hopefully there's going to be some good stuff coming up in the future. Hopefully somebody is going to start talking and kind of explaining what's going on. We'll get some news. Good or bad, I would just like to know exactly what is happening. So until next time, I hope to see you soon in the verse. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.